under a rock if you're in Dubai and haven't heard of my guest today. The latest Guinness World Record holder across every news channel, newspaper, social media platforms, you name it, you have seen him. Today on the podcast with me is Sujith Koshy Varghese, and let us get to know who he is beyond all his achievements. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sujith. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making the time in between all your busy schedules lately. So, this achievement that you made recently is one you have been manifesting for the longest time.
Yes.
So, how did you go about, achieving it? Because I remember reading somewhere you had a lot of trouble or a lot of struggle while doing this.
Well, it was hell. Let's start with that. Well, this actually started, I wouldn't just say just popped up one day in the it was in my head about Guinness World. It was more of when you progress something in life. So as you can all see that I'm in a wheelchair. So there's a story behind of how all that came out to be. But once I started bouncing back in life, when I started doing A, I had the confidence to then do B. Then B gave me the confidence to do C. That's how it built up. That's how and the minute I did that, one thing led to the other, and there were so many events. I think we have so much to talk about. But then there was a point of time I was like, how can I go bigger than this? Like I was doing something big, at least I felt, and people around me felt some things were big. And then I was like, how can I do something big? And what is probably the most maddest I can dream of? What is the biggest I can dream of in terms of achievements? Dude, Guinness World Record is one of the biggest in the world,
I think that is the highest you can go.
Right, and I was telling this
making
to
a statement as well.
Right, and I was telling this to somebody the other day. Probably the only thing I in my logical head that I can match up with Guinness is probably the Olympic gold medal. You know what I mean? In that level of things, right? And so that's how it came to be. That's the idea. And I do a lot of manifestation. I do a lot of visual thinking, and I'm a strong believer in what you give out is what comes back to you in terms of the words you say from your mouth. There's a power to it, okay? And that goes a lot with spirituality and things like that, but keeping that aside.
Yeah, also I think, what you want, I recently spoke to someone and she was saying what you send out to the universe, like you said, comes back to you.
Right, so there are a lot of practitioners I follow, practitioners as in coaches and people who talk about everyday things, everyday habits that molds us and how we can transform our lives. And there's this one guy, I forgot his name unfortunately, but he talks about the words that you say about yourself really matters.
Absolutely.
For example, if you are a person that's really on the road, like myself, you have Z going on every day, and every other person. So example, if I met you, Tauhee, maybe by evening, and I'm like, oh, Tauhee, I had such a tired day. And the next person I meet you after that, I had a tired day. The minute I said, I am tired, that
drains you.
And that automatically drains me whether I'm drained or not. Right? Over a period of time. So I think that really matters on what you tell yourself. So coming back to the topic, but that's how Guinness World happened. And I used to do that, tell a couple of my friends, but with the intention that I want it to come to me. And one day, 2021, the senior PR manager just pops up in my DM.
In your DM of all places.
In all my places.
Imagine if you just let it be.
Right,
just let it
I swear,
a lot of people don't actually go into their requests.
Don't avoid your DMs. Okay, that's
or requests for that matter. You never know who's lying in there.
And he just messages, I'm following your page, I love your content, are you interested in breaking
But did you think that was legit?
Right, so
because we get a lot of these spams.
I didn't because I literally got an email yesterday, just please share your Twitter password, and I'm not even joking, for Insta verification.
Look at that.
You get verified, and I'm like, no dude, that's not how it works.
But aren't you verified already on Instagram?
No, I'm not.
On Instagram?
No, not on Instagram yet.
Okay.
I'm not verified anymore, unfortunately.
Not yet. I think, but if you look at it now, everybody's going to get verified very soon.
Right?
You know how it's working, right?
The
paid verification.
So I don't want that. I would rather want the legit. But
so there has to be some differentiation between that, how you get the paid and how you get it on your own merit.
Yeah. So I didn't first think, but then I was messaging him, and he's like, but then when things became on email, it became more legit. I started seeing logos, I started seeing numbers, I started seeing credibility, so then I could, and as it was in 2021, the conversation started. Then it went silent, it went silent for a very long time. Then 22 March, I think we picked it up back. Then we there was a lot of discussion in what should be done, what is the record. And he proposed to me about 10 records.
So he asked you, he gave you a list of things that you could do.
I could do, but 7 out of 10 I couldn't do because
How did he identify you? Why you?
You see, my videos were still going, like
Okay.
some of my posts were still being shared quite a bit in Dubai.
Yeah, okay.
I was already in the media, like I was in one of the ambassadors for Dubai Fitness Challenge.
Oh, really?
So I was very
Okay.
active in my
So
fitness
that gave you a lot of spotlight.
field. Yeah, I already
Okay.
had a spotlight. So I think from there he just identified me and, you know.
So it makes sense, right? To be in the right place at the right time, to be
Right.
identified by the right people.
And grab the opportunity
Yes,
when it
grab
comes.
it.
I
Yeah.
always say this to people. You can, and it's so true because Tauhee, from my life, I've understood that if there is not an opportunity, you can actually create an opportunity. You have to be
Clearly,
smart
yeah,
enough
yeah.
how to do it. But you can even forget grabbing the opportunity. That's a big thing. That's like the crucial X factor point, that moment that it comes to. But you can actually create an opportunity. I have created opportunities talking to the right people, putting things in a way I wanted it to the right people so they hear it. And you can create it, you know.
Dubai is a land of opportunity
It
if
is.
you think about it, right?
110%.
Yeah, and then
It
you
is.
can see it in your trajectory. But before we digress further, you said it's a sequence of events, A, B, C, right? And you said A is the hardest.
Right. Oh,
Yeah. So how did you cross the A? How hard was the A for you to overcome? Because I think in your situation, like, you know, when we see, you say like, I've seen a couple of posts by you as well, where you said every day is a struggle. Like for the rest of us, like even if you have everything in the world, everybody's discontent at some point, right? But I also know that how hard it is to overcome. And it's a sequence of events. How hard was it for you to get over that A?
Well,
Probably, I'm assuming that is right after you've had...
But just for you to know, after all this accident, what happened, for your followers to also know, I had a bike accident and I injured my spinal cord. I had 18 fractures on my skull. So I was in coma for 4 days. I was on a ventilator. And on the 4 days when I wake up, and I came to know that all these things happened at the age of 20 in my final year of college. So I didn't have a helmet. That's the reason of 18 fractures on my skull. So after the surgery, I had a 12-hour surgery. Then I went into coma. And I was on a ventilator and everything. And the doctor said I would actually die on the 4th day. But on the 4th day is when I woke up. And he told my dad and mom that Sujith has a 40% chance of survival after the surgeries.
Okay.
So I was in a very, very critical
So
condition.
you had all these surgeries done whilst you were in coma?
I was unconscious. I didn't even know. When I wake up, my body cannot move. Like I'm on high doses of morphine to handle the pain. So due to that reason, I'm only awake like 15 minutes a day. Like, so I'm awake, I see some people, and then boom, I'm out, I'm knocked out again. There's tubes down my nose and my throat. And so after all...
also just to break down in between, he didn't even realize he was in an accident, right?
Yeah, I have no memory of the
He stepped
night.
out for tea with his friends in the evening.
Right.
Late night.
Right, late night, chai rides and...
chai rides. I think that is something a lot of college students look forward to in college. Like still
the lifestyle.
Still the lifestyle.
And that's my next memory. And then suddenly I open my eyes and I find myself in a hospital bed. And I see my parents looking at me and asking
who were
me,
in Dubai and who flew in.
Who were in Dubai, who flew, and they're like asking, what happened to you? No, can you see us? Was the first question. Do you recognize us?
You must be wondering, like, why are they asking me all of this?
So more than they asking me, I'm like a super independent guy. And I literally even told my dad and mom the second day, I think, because they had a 15-minute slot to come and see me in the ICU, and that's about it. So in that time, I'm like, guys, why are you guys here? I'll fix this and I'll come. You guys go back to Dubai. Like, I don't want to involve them, like a lot. And that's my thinking at that time, even though I'm super sedated on medication,
That's the first thought that came into your mind.
These are the first few thoughts, like, what are they doing here? Why are they here? What problem did I get into? At that age, like, what problem did I get into?
Because he had already gotten into problems, and literally we could say that you were pushed back to India, right?
Oh, right. Oh, she knows the story. She did the research.
Now you know how deep my research was.
She did. So I was in trouble, and that's why I got to India in the first place. Like, that was, for better discipline. We just rebels as kids at that time, like everything is like, how do you say in Malayalam, there's a word called chora telapa, which is like, your blood is boiling to do everything you want to do.
Now, since you've said that word, I can say in Malayalam, Nadadati.
Adding it on top. No, but that's so true. Like, that's how I was, And that's when they packed me to Kerala in the first place for doing 3 years of medication. And then it was a choice for me to go to Bangalore because Bangalore was super happening.
And still is.
It is, and it's too crowded now, though.
Yeah, it's too crowded. The traffic is insane.
Too much.
Yeah.
So I did prefer my Bangalore how I was at that point of time. And so final year they had never had to involve with anything of mine there. I was handling everything, my stay, my education. And so suddenly my first thoughts were like, when I saw them, like, what are they doing here? And like I told them, guys, go back.
Yeah.
I'll sort everything out. And 2 weeks. I think it took me at least a week to even understand what's happening with me.
The gravitas of the situation.
No, gravity of the situation came way more than a month. Way more than a month. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm so... See, no, it's not about... When I had 18 fractures on my skull, a doctor said this to me when in CMC Vellore, and when he saw my X-ray, you know how lucky you are? And so he could read an X-ray. People can see an X-ray, we know how bad is it, but there are doctors who read which layer of the skull. So there are so many layers in a skull, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, you see that crack, you're lucky, because if that crack is one more level, couple of levels further, one more level further, you would be a vegetable. And can you imagine if there are 18 fractures that happened in this skull in one place, not the entire. And if one of them...
Importance of helmet.
The importance of helmet, blessings of God.
Blessings of God.
That did not happen. Because if that happened, then probably there's no reversal to things, you know what I mean? And so, that was the gravity of things. And then I think over a month is when they're telling me, I'm trying to understand why is my leg I'm not feeling my leg. Yeah. So I had a very short memory initially. So the doctor said 3 things, by the way. Coming back to the point, he said, your son will never see again from the right eye, because my eyes was, one of the bone cracked and pushed the eye down. He'll have a very weak memory for the rest of his life, and he'll never walk. So my memory is crisp. I have completed my bachelor's in commerce after my accident.
Wow.
And the exams, I went and wrote back the entire exams.
The finals.
Yeah, I have a very good memory. I can see Tauhee is sitting over here, sipping on a red cup. This beautiful house. And the only thing third is for me to prove that wrong in time.
Inshallah. So you're working towards that.
Of course. I have zero... I have like 100% hope. I was trying to say there's no chance that I'm not going to do it.
Like you said, you were in the prime of your age, right?
Yeah.
At that age, when something like this happens, you would ideally expect the person to be completely broken down. But then you were actually retrospecting and trying to understand.
That again came at a series of time, right? Like initially, yes, it's like a lot of confusion. Yeah, there's a lot of denial. There's a lot of, before even that why me, when doctor tells something like this, you're like, dude, this is not possible. Don't look at my eyes and tell me that you'll never walk for the rest of your life. It's like, you cannot believe it. So you don't believe it. But so you're waiting for the next doctor. So you can ask him, hey, what is actually, how is the cure for it? And I did that so much times until I heard no from everywhere. From the rehabilitation center, from the doctors, from every hospital I went. Then the denial phase came. Then the why me phase came. Lot of depression, lot of limitations, but more than the depression, it was these people's sympathies. When they walk into my house and they sympathize on my situation, that's what really got to me. Like that's what made me really sad, I would say. The depression is not because I was even in a wheelchair. They started seeing me differently. Like, they walk into my house and they're fine, and suddenly they look at me and they're like having the most saddest face, telling my mother, oh, poor guy, and everyone asking the same story over and over again. But the worst offensive part, what I felt about this was, and I've told this so many places, is that the minute I would tell someone I cannot feel my legs, they would come and touch my legs in front of me. And this happened so many times that then I started telling them, don't you understand what I'm telling you? And they're like, you can't, because people couldn't digest the fact that someone cannot feel their own legs. And I used to tell them that, and they suddenly come and touch my leg. And that makes me, how do you think that would make a person feel, right? And another side a lot of people would come and tell me stories of somebody else that they know.
Who's in a worse situation.
Right.
To make you feel better.
To make me feel better. And I think to one person, I told one person this, that if you're doing this to me, would you then do about myself to someone else?
Absolutely.
Right? Like it's I don't know, people should really...
I think the intention was pure. I mean, like to help you,
right.
Help you heal or help you feel better about yourself. But then ultimately, you don't want, when you're in a situation like that, you don't want someone else to be just equally worse.
Right, and you're hearing it from every single one, every single day. So it does get to your head. So that's when all this, later, like I said, this reflection time, and you have a lot of time just to think and be. You're just doing nothing, right? And that's when you really make decisions in your head that literally lays the foundation for what's going to happen in your life. Like I always say, I had a lot of fire in me, so much of fire in me, but that fire I could use it as an anger to burn me down, or I could use it as a fuel to charge me up.
Wow.
And thankfully I took the other path.
Yeah.
I always say this, like, it's honestly, that anger was so much in me that I could it could burn me down. Like if it burned me down, no one would hear about me, believe me. Like I know myself. I know how adamant I am in things. But the day I decided that I'm going to prove people wrong, the way I started looking at life and the way the level I placed myself in life was completely different.
Okay, so and how long after this accident was it?
Which the whole mindset changing? Well,
or was there a particular incident that actually instigated this?
There was a particular incident. It's like life put me in a position suddenly, and I started seeing a different side of life I've never seen. I think, you know how this is what my understanding. When we grow up, we're just programmed to think in a certain way. You like, you know, be in a certain way.
Believes it and doesn't act otherwise.
And that's the core belief you have, and that's your body acts as such. So when you see another opportunity, that opportunity might not look an opportunity at that time. That opportunity might look like no, risky, not allowed, don't do it. Exactly. So when I had all this happening to me, all this trauma and all this sad and everything happening, I started realizing, wait, nobody around. See, as a kid, we all are dependent on our parents till a certain age, probably until you get married. Then you are how, you know, spouses, then they discuss how the new route comes to be. But till then, you always have a feeling, no matter how much you mess up, your mom and dad is going to back you up.
I think post your wedding also, they will be always
They will be there, but you always have that core belief, right? Always that no matter how bad things are there, family can take care of it. What happens when you look around from your mom, your dad, your doctors, and every single society, and everyone says they don't have an answer for spinal cord injury? What do you do then?
So that's the first time. T3 and T4.
Mine is T4, T4,
T45, okay.
And that's the first time I just started seeing everyone around me, nobody had answers. So that's when I had to, and like I said, you said that one thing that triggered me, right? So then when I came back to Kerala, I had an Ayurvedic treatment. Do you know about this one?
And I know the Ayurvedic treatment, of
things went, the story of mine.
No.
So so when we came back to Kerala, I'll come back to the main point I was saying, but when I came back to Kerala, one of the guys who used to work in a house, he came to me, he came to a family, he's like, you know what? So at this time, it's only me and my mom in Kerala, my dad and my sisters are back in Dubai, and he was like, I know how to treat, there's a guy who can actually cure this guy.
Okay.
So this is like a ray of sunlight that came into our house.
I mean, like at that point in time, when everybody is negative, any good news is the best news.
Is the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a Natu Vaidyan, so we have never tried Ayurveda.
Okay. Oh, you had until then?
We never done Ayurveda, like we don't even
consider it as
like we don't have, that's what I'm saying, you know, we never had to be in a position even to go to a hospital probably more than once in 2 years or something like that, you know. And the guy comes, he's a Natu Vaidyan.
Also, you guys, you were based out of Dubai, right? So in many ways, people in Dubai, they're very unexposed to the realities of the world. Like, let's be honest, because when we go back to India and see a lot more suffering is when we realize, my God, there is so much more to just the simple,
and
you know,
we
easy
have
life.
so much.
To the easy lives that we lead here. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah for that. But still, it is very scary when we go back and see the harsh reality and the reality of life.
How people live, how people stay, how their resources are.
Okay.
And so this guy was like, I'm like, great, wow. And this was a Natu Vaidyan, like a very old traditional method
Anything
guy.
at that point to try.
And he's like, it's going to cost a bit. We're like, dude, like just get me fixed. But he's like, it's going to have a lot of rules and regulations. So there were some unrealistic rules placed on the table, which all I said yes to. Okay?
Which was the most unrealistic one?
No one should see me for the next 3 months. No one should see me who has seen me before. So the only person I saw...
That is like, is that a part of the treatment? Or is
apparently, it's like nobody should give bad eyes to his treatment or something.
This bad eyes thing, I don't think that's a part of Ayurveda. Come on.
Tauhee, I did it.
I'm sorry.
I did it.
But
if you told me an elephant is a giraffe, I would believe it.
At that point in time.
Because I want to walk. Like I have zero, I'm not looking for anything else. Then another thing, he was like, he made me go on a diet, which was...
Diets in Ayurveda is terrible.
It's terrible. But my diet was not the conventional. I see, usually as far as I know in Ayurveda, they tell you not to have meat and all that. But that's about it, and then just a little vegetables. Mine was, I had to eat dosa and sugar as breakfast for 3 months.
As breakfast, okay.
As breakfast. Dosa and sugar. Okay? And I'm not even talking about taste here. I'm talking about the unhealthiness of things, okay? And evening and lunch, dinner was rice and ladyfinger gravy. Now, just to talk about nutritional aspects, I'm already coming from all this injury and my body health is very weak. I need a lot of nutrition. The diet I just explained has zero nutrition. So there's no fruits, there's no milk, there's no...
Also nothing else at all?
Nothing else.
Strictly these 3 meals.
So the body already that went through...
all this trauma.
12-hour surgery and recovery and, you know, became even more harsh. And he had another method of hitting me on the thigh over here, thinking blood circulation would flow better. But what happened is, I was getting injured, but I was not feeling it.
Because of his
because of his hit,
hitting.
but I was not feeling it on my legs. So I was not. So this is how you would get blood circulation. Fast forward 3 months after this thing, I find myself.
And you didn't see anybody else for the 3
No,
months.
I would not even go to the. I started getting sick and all. I would not even pop a Panadol. He would bring some Ayurvedic medicine so that his medicine doesn't repel. And suddenly I was rushed to the hospital one day because I could not even move. I was puking the food I was eating. And my mom then put a tab on it, like, you know what, done. Let's just finally go.
But you didn't see any progress in those 3 months?
No.
Okay.
But even especially towards the last week of me going to the hospital, that last week was the worst week of my life because I was shivering constantly every single day, drinking, from the time I get up, drinking hot cups of boiling water just to keep myself warm. Throughout, 5 blankets on top of me because I couldn't even pop a pill or go to a doctor because I just want this to work like somehow, When
because that was the only hope you had.
That was the only hope I had. And when my mom put a cap on it, my cousin brothers came to take me out to go to the doctor. That's the first time I'm seeing some other person, And what happened? I can't see color.
You became colorblind.
I became colorblind. And they rushed me to the hospital. The doctor analyzed me for 10 minutes. He started shouting at my mother, like after seeing my condition and analyzing me, like, what have you done? Like, do you realize if you bought him 2 more weeks later, he would have died? Like the infection spread through my entire body. I was rushed to the ICU, 3 days constantly blood transfusions. Way. Yeah, and then I was
on
moved
top of
to the
all that you've been through.
On top of all what I've been through, and this happened in the 6 months, or like right after I've been through, and then I was moved to the ward. Then they said, you see the black spots on his legs, on the thigh, that has to be removed because it's dead flesh. And I've seen very graphic, I don't want to say that much details over here, but I've seen things done to my body you will not even imagine without anesthesia because I cannot feel pain. So I've seen the most bloodiest of bloody things you can even think about. And when all that was done, there are 3 holes in my body, like where a palm would fit inside, which is called a pressure sore, which is people with spinal cord injuries tend to get very often because of a lot of sitting on bony areas.
Okay.
3 big pressure sores which would never naturally heal. And after I think another 2 more weeks in the everyday antibiotics just to manage the infection my body is going through because infection spread everywhere. Right? And just to fix the wound, just to fix the wound this man created, I underwent 16 surgeries till date from 2013 till 2018.
To fix what this Natu Vaidyan had done to you.
What this Natu Vaidyan did. So totally I have 18 surgeries.
So did you sue him? Did you complain
against him? He ran away, never saw him after that.
Oh my.
So my only first 2 surgeries was my head and my back, my spinal cord. Rest 16 was because of this man. My body became an, like a playground for surgeons. It's just cuts everywhere. Flesh has been removed. And every time I'm talking to a doctor, he's like, I still remember this conversation with a doctor in Zuleika Hospital over here. He's like, Sujith, because this one wound was not healing. So it was surgery after surgery after surgery. And he was like, we need to take a muscle and put it on that place so that the blood circulation and this can finally heal. And my only question to him was, is that muscle, wherever you're going to take it, because it's going to be from the leg, will that affect my walking tomorrow? Because tomorrow I'm going to walk. And I don't want that muscle not to be there when I walk. He's like, no, it's one of many layers. And I had an entire discussion of 25 minutes to understand what muscle he's talking about. And so
now after that post that you were very clear, you wanted to know what's going to be happening.
I need to know because I will walk tomorrow. That's when I walk. I don't want to be like the walking muscles are not there, I mean, it's unfortunate all this is happening, but I need to safeguard my walking tomorrow. And that's my priority. See, I might die, but I will not walking, but I will, till the very last day, I will have that belief and hope that it will happen.
I think that is always what takes you forward, right? Look how far you've gotten already.
Right. Yeah. And so after all this coming back to Kerala and all these people giving me more sympathy and more, sadness and all that, the first decision and all this self-reflecting and talking, I'm literally going fast forward for like months and years of thinking.
How long ago was this?
This happened in 2013, so about 10 years now. And that's when I decided, one day I saw this video of this guy, changed my life completely. I'll never forget it. I hope one day I can even see him. He's somewhere in USA and his name is Dewey Bonzello.
Okay.
And so when I had so much of time on YouTube, I was just watching videos after videos. And I came across this one video called Dewey Bonzello's video. And Dewey Bonzello is a person who was convicted of a murder at the age of 23 back in like 1986 or something like that. And at the age of 23, he was convicted of a murder for a crime he did not commit, but the witnesses were some local thugs who testified against him. Like they just put him. So he got into prison at that time, and he's a black man, and the racism in America was all too much. They put him in prison. But in prison, he got involved for boxing. They had a boxing program in the prison. And he apparently, according to the story, and even the world boxing champion at that moment's testimony, boxing transformed him. It made him a better person. See, at that situation, when you are in a free, suddenly someone puts you in a cage, what do you become? You become an animal, right? Like you lose everything, you lose all your patience, you lose the person you become. So boxing calmed him down, transformed him. And I could suddenly relate to that because boxing was my thing in college. I used to be in a boxing academy, and boxing transformed me as a person as well, back in my day.
You think that is because it helps you vent a lot of your frustration?
More than venting, it's like, see, it's like I always say this example, and you would love this, I believe, because when you're just aggressive and anything you say, you just want to lift your hands up, that means you don't know nothing. You're just trying to show it or something. When I learned boxing, I was so calm, I was so at peace that I wouldn't raise my hands at anyone. I wouldn't just pick a fight. I wouldn't just go charging at somebody, because I know in 2 seconds I can do the damage.
You can do the damage. You don't have a point to prove.
But that thing, the training puts a inbuilt discipline in you by default. I cannot explain it. It's not because I'm leaving the aggression, no, but it's because I know something that you don't. That's like a very dangerous person,
That's a very interesting theory to that, I can actually put you down, but I'm holding it back.
And it's a fact, and it has happened so many times where people have, and I have not moved. Until then I had to do something, and then they know, and then they back out. So that's what I'm saying. So boxing transformed me as a person, from all my impulsiveness and everything. And I saw this guy out there, I'm like, wait, this is something I can relate to. And at the world champion at that time, in the documentary, it's a 7.5-minute documentary, he was like, I got saved by the bell, because Tauhee Bonzolo was that good. But these news never come out, because it's just a boxing program in prison. And believe this, after 20 years, he got a retrial, okay? This is his story. After 20 years, he got a retrial, and in the retrial, the prosecution came and told him, if you admit, because he's not admitted to the guilt, right? But if you admit to the crime, we will allow you to get out on parole for the first time in 20 years. In 20 years. And he's like, I'm not going to allow jail to define who I am. This is what boxing gave him, the discipline and the person he was. So I'm not going to allow, I'm going to fight for it. And he did not get parole. But after that, for every day, for first 5 years, he wrote to a law firm called the Innocence Project to take up his case. And when Innocence Project, because he needs lawyers, right? After writing every day, almost every day for 5 years, they took up his case. And when they took up his case, they understood the injustice that happened to Tauhee Bonzolo. All the evidence was destroyed. There was no more evidence, except the person who arrested Tauhee Bonzolo back in the day. When that officer retired, there's only one file he took back home.
And that was his?
That was Tauhee Bonzolo's. So that was the evidence. So they understood everything was manipulated. And after another 10 more years of retrial, which was after 30 years, now it's total 30 years.
Prime of his age is lost.
He walks out of jail as a free man. And that video is the most, I get goosebumps every time I watch it, where his wife just falls down, he raises his hands up. And when the court declares that Tauhee has been wrongly convicted and you are a free man. And he walks out of prison, there's a courtroom and everybody's like, with all reporters and everything, and he's like, I'm not going to be angry at anyone who put me in the bars, because I'm never going to move forward. I have my life to live now. He got in jail at the age of 23. He walks out of age at 53.
Imagine.
I know his prime is gone, but that example that man has set, and his legacy will live on. You know what I mean? And when I saw this video,
it transformed you?
It just changed me. I'm like,
but if you look at it, it has nothing to do with you, but I think...
Right, no, but the story is, like the only part I could relate was that boxing part. And then there's somebody who did this. Like, wait, can you even comprehend? Like, I had so much of like, wait, he's in prison. Like, that's worse than being paralyzed. I kind of believe it. It's worse than being paralyzed. 30 years of his life is taken. I don't know the kind of people he's with, but he fought, he believed something. What did he believe? He believed he's going to get out of there, right? It took him 30 years. And I just told myself, like, dude, there's a man who believes in something when the whole world was against him, but he still did it, like every day writing to a law firm for 5 years. And then I asked myself, Sujith, what gives you the right to give up or even think about giving up when yours is not even 1 year. So what has to change? Something has to change, right? What has to change is because till then I realized whatever people were telling me I can and I cannot do, I was just listening and sitting over there, and I was not trying anything new. I'm like, I have to do something that everyone thinks I cannot do, right? I have to prove them wrong. I have to change the limitation. And I always remember, I wanted to sleep in my room. This was like the most simplest thing I wanted to do, sleeping into my room. But my room is on the first floor, and everyone was like, so son, we cannot, even to get out of my own house, I needed 2 people. You know, it was that bad.
Initially, of course.
Because there are steps and ramps, and you know how Kerala is not the most friendly place for wheelchairs. And I remember telling my mom, I want to climb up. She's like, no, Sujith, you can't. Nobody can build a lift. Nobody can pick you up. And I kept doing this. The 3rd day, I think, and 4th day, I'm like, I have to do it myself. And it was just a chance, and I was being so angry, and I was just being like so stubborn. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll probably just go to the step and just sit over there and not be able to do anything. But I'm like, I want to do it. So I wheel myself to the step. And I take myself from the wheelchair and I put to the step, and I started climbing one step up. And my mom then finally like, oh, fine, he's doing it. I have to help him as well. So she's holding my leg so it doesn't hit the step. Right? And with my hands, I'm doing a back push-up. 1 step at a time, 1 step at a time, 18 steps up. I land on top, I'm done. Like, I'm so tired. I literally had to take breaks in between couple of steps.
Because that's after a long time that actually you're doing.
I'm using this much of stress at all. Yeah, you know, that's like a lot of stress. And I reach on top, and from the floor, I get to a sofa, and from the sofa to my wheelchair, and I go to my room. And when I reached, I was sweating, I was tired, panting.
But you were happy.
But I was so happy for the first time. When I entered my room and I sat, I'm like, dude, I just did the impossible. Nobody said I could go to my room. No one. But I just did it. Like everyone told, we need someone to lift you up or you need a lift. But I just did the impossible. So when this thing happened, I remember the next day there was an aunt that came home. She was like, when I told her the story, my mom said, oh, you know, Monipam, she's climbing and he's going up.
And then you started doing it regularly.
I started doing it regularly. Every day, morning I used to
come down.
Morning I used to come down, evening I used to go back up. And this auntie, I remember, she was like, oh, how did you do it? And 2 other people said the same thing who told me I can't go upstairs. Like, it's not possible. Then I realized everyone will tell you it's not possible until you do it. And then once you do it, they'll ask you how you did it. And that's a fact. And that's where my entire neurological system just rewired and started a new path itself. From there was no stopping.
No stopping.
From there was like, what do I have to lose anymore? I lost the biggest thing I feel in my life, which is my legs. Now, Sujith, go for it. Like, if it's going to kill you, go for it. Like, that's the attitude, you know. If it's going to bring you at the verge of death, show you death, and bring you back, go do it. It scares me, I would do it. Whatever scares me today, I would do it. You tell me, jump in the shark, it might just bite you or might not bite you, take a chance, I would do it. Because for me today,
you've been pushed
I wanna reach, I've been pushed to a level where I don't, from my life story, I from my examples, you know, pulling that car, like you said earlier, I almost broke my back. Working out in a gym, I've heard 10 different noises crack into my body. I don't know if the bone is breaking. I don't know if something's getting dislocated. Do you think that stopped and I went back home? No. Which is one of the best things I've done in my life, because fitness transformed my life, and I can never thank fitness enough, because that's what gave me the confidence. Like I said, A to B. So A was to do the step to even think on how I can prove people wrong. You know, that was the hardest step. And then coming back to Dubai, getting into fitness, getting into gym, and started working out, building my body, becoming better. Then slowly I started posting it on Instagram. But the posting on Instagram was not even to get likes. It was just to show people, like my close friends or people who were following me. I had like 100 followers or something that time, just to show them that I have not given up. So that's why I used to post gym videos.
So just to digress, you briefly spoken about how your friends had also fallen off once this had happened to you.
Right, I lost a lot of friends, Yeah.
So, and how was that feeling?
So that was a part of loneliness, you know. That was I was alive. I had, 1,500 people with me. That's how I was at that point of my life.
The popular kid from
Popular kid. And suddenly I find myself, there's no friends, and you're like this forgotten story. You're just this guy.
And do you have a girlfriend?
And no, at that time I did not have a girlfriend. But, you know, I had some people close to me, but there were so many people I expected to be there. But it's like, you know, once you're off the scene, you know. And that's about it. And that's when you realize, shit, this is what this is what you
That's the reality,
fought for,
right?
this is what you did for, this is why you stood with people. That's when it really hits you. You know, it's at that age, yes, you think that friends are life, your friends are family, you think all of that.
Yeah, they're above everyone else.
They're above everyone else. I mean, I got kicked out of school for friends. Like, I've fought in schools where finally we had to get kicked out for friends. That was the story on many different places, you know. And so when this factor, it hits you, it hurts you. It hurts you very bad.
Yeah.
Like, it really breaks a hole in that heart of yours, you know. And that's what I went through.
Yeah.
That's where
That
the depression was
part,
very strong.
Intense.
Yeah, very intense, very intense. And yeah,
so then you started doing this, you started posting. I think a lot of self-assurance is also in that, right? And also when you look back, you know you're doing that, progress is happening.
Progress is happening, and it was happening very slowly, you know. At one point, it was happening very slowly. I mean, the steps climbing just changed me, you know, like you feel a sign of like, okay, you know what? I am maybe not that person that you said I am. I am not that guy who's going to be locked in a room. I'm not that guy who's going to sit on a bed.
I'm not the guy that you expect me to be.
Right.
You want me to be.
And then fitness, when it boosted me, like it made me stronger by the day. And like
but I think that also comes from the fact that you were already much into fitness before any of this
happened. But you know,
Tauhee,
the thing is, when I wanted to get back in fitness, which was 2015, when I came back to Dubai and my dad got a visa and he came back to Dubai, I was skin and bones. Okay.
Yeah. After all this that you went through.
Yeah, and at that time, if I'm sitting on a chair right now, and if I did this, I would just fall.
Okay.
Or I'm in this state. Okay, I'm skin and bones, even back in 15. And if I left my hand, today I have good core balance, like of working out. But at that time, if I left, I would just fall. So if I was sitting at that time, I would always be sure I'm holding on to something.
Oh, okay.
So that was my level of, like level of strength, level of balance. It was very poor. So to go to a gym was like a big risk.
Okay.
Because you don't know what can happen, right? And you don't know how it's going to be.
You don't want to like injure yourself further.
But I just knew I wanted to go to the gym, and my mom said, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Dad is like, you sure? I'm like, I just don't know, but I think I should go to a gym because I need my strength. And I remember for a month at least, my mom used to wheel me from, gym is like next building. Literally your neighbor would be my gym, you know. She would wheel me to the gym, drop me, the coach would take me, and she would come back to pick me up because it was the sweetest thing she did. She always, everything she's done is sweet. And I remember, fast forward a couple of weeks later, when I started getting slowly stronger, I told her, Mom, you know what? Let me go to the gym myself.
Okay.
And then I started going to the gym myself. So that was like, you know,
step by step.
Yeah, like A to A square. You know, like then it was like that, you know. And then I started and then gym became like, you know, a religion. I was there every day, 6 o'clock. I was to get out at 8 o'clock, eat good. What happened to me? Skinny boy becomes bulky boy. And 3 months later, for the first time in my life, I'm bench pressing 100 kilos.
Yeah, from someone who was falling off his...
From someone who could fall off his wheelchair, you know. So the level of transformation with body, with the fitness and the muscles that I got, and you know, the confidence I got overall was immense, you know. And I mean, see, it's not like the gym was the easy part. Like in the gym, I have fallen down in the gym. I've had dumbbells fall, tear my skin open, have blood happening. I've been off gyms 2 weeks. I have fallen from my wheelchair to the gym. All has happened so many times more than you can imagine. But I was so obsessed that even during my surgeries in Dubai, I had an extra tube that was from my wound drainage area, and I've taken that and gone to the gym and worked out.
Because you were so dedicated.
I was mental.
Because you could see the progress that was happening, right?
Yeah. I was obsessed. Like for me, it was like, I need this. It was religion. I need this no matter what. Like I literally had an entire machine with me, which was taking out drainage from my tube, from my wound, and I would go to the gym and work with that. So when I get on a bench press machine, I'll move that, he'll hold it, I'll get on it, bench press, come back on my... People used to be like, this guy is a psycho.
So much dedication.
Yeah, see, it didn't bother because at the end of the day, I need to do what I need to do, whichever state it may be.
Yeah.
Like I say, I keep saying this because I'm that aggressive towards life. If I'll die doing it. Yeah. But I would still take that chance because then you get what you really want in life. Why not? Who's stopping you?
No, and you've seen that things happening because of your determination.
Yes. My life, then when you reflect, even at that stage, man, what was my story a couple of years ago? I mean, I couldn't even balance it. I was literally at my home in Mavelikara, sad, depressed, couldn't do anything. And now today I'm in so much better place. And I finally found something. Actually, I'll tell you what, I define gym as a place where I finally felt I was equal. Because people made me feel unequal at one point of time. You know, when they saw me in a wheelchair, we are walking, he's in a wheelchair.
And everything around it, your family, your friends, everything made you feel a little lesser.
I did feel a little less, so that's a fact. And gym was the one place I felt I actually match up with people or I'm even better than some, you know what I mean? Like I felt that.
Yeah, you could, like, if you see me and you working out in the gym, you'll be like, that's probably nowadays.
It's a challenge,
No. I think that is the kind of motivation people would be looking for. Yeah, I'm definitely better than that person.
Yeah, it's like, you work out intense, so people who work out with me, they know I'm a psycho in working out. Like I really push my body to the limits,
Alhamdulillah, the results are reflective of your efforts.
And thank you. And so that was a mindset. And then suddenly so the posting was happening for my friends to know that I'm still working out. And suddenly it turned out to be a motivation for some people. And that's when it surprised me.
I mean, if someone like you can do it, and then what is stopping the rest of us, right? Like
so that's where now it became literally from B to C to D, I would say in one shot, is because then my sister got in touch with Chris Fade. There's a show called Chris Fade Show, Virgin Radio. And Chris DM'd her saying that does he want to be on the show? And that's when I met him for the first time.
And that's when I think your spotlight slowly started
That's where my spotlight started, because I didn't even know who Chris Fade was. So she goes super high to Chris Fade is, I'm like, who? Like, she's better learn who Chris Fade is. So I literally was, no, I just met him last week. I was telling him, I didn't know that. And I just showed him because I was Googling who Chris Fade, Preeti Malik and Rossi was the night before the show. But we connected beautifully, and the story was told out in public. And then in 2017, he calls me. He's like, I'm launching a brand called Fade Fade. I want you to be a speaker in it.
Wow.
I'm like, great, cool, let's do that. And there was about like 500 people over there. And for the first time, I just shared my story. So he wanted a motivational aspect because we had nutritionists, they had fitness trainers, everyone speaking. But they wanted one inspirational aspect. So he's like, I like your fitness journey, because fitness journey was the main factor, right? Like even after all this, someone's still working out. And I said game, and I would do it. And for the first time, I spoke for 45 minutes, and people had tears in their eyes. And believe it or not,
story is so inspirational. Sujith.
Thank you. And believe it or not, from there, I got my first TedX talk in the same year.
Okay.
So this is happening on March of 2017. And I remember people approaching me on September for my first TEDx talk. 2017 was an insane year. Your sister did
you good.
She did amazing. Shout out to Sonia and Sophia.
She said the ball rolling.
Yeah, no, she did. She did the first step, honestly. Yeah. Then I got, immediately when I came out of stage, UFC Gym came and gave me their 1-year membership VIP card. Now, the craziest part about UFC was, for people, followers in Dubai, followers who know this, I stay in Sharjah. Business Bay is in UFC. UFC was in Business Bay.
Okay, UFC is?
A gym.
Okay.
It's a big gym. It's a massive gym. UFC is like...
If you're ignorant like me, that's what it is.
UFC is like a dream. It's a fighting club. So you have a lot of fighters and all happening. It's a worldwide tournament that happens. So when I got sponsored by UFC, I'm like, man, I really have to go to UFC. I want to come back to the motivational part of it.
Yeah,
but there's UFC stories, because when I got the membership, I was like, dude, I don't have money. I'm not making money. I'm not working. I don't have a car to drive. And how do I go to UFC? Visualize what I'm saying next thing. I started wheeling 400 meters from my house to Sahara Center, the mall, because I'm staying in Sharjah, I'm staying in Al Nada. I enter the mall and I exit the mall from the back end, and I wheel for like another 50 meters.
All by yourself?
Yeah, all by myself, and I'm already in Dubai side now. Okay, now I'm in Dubai side.
There's that very string border as well.
Right. And so I enter the mall from front, exit from back, wheel for like 50 meters, and I'm in Dubai. No, take a bus. I don't have money, remember. It's not like I'm dirt poor, but every day 40-50 bucks is not going to happen, when I'm not making money. And from Guinness, behind Sahara, I take a bus to Guinness metro station. From Guinness metro station, I go all the way to Business Bay. Changing in Union, you change the red lane, green lane thing. And from Business Bay, I get down, I take F41 and I go to Bay Square. In Bay Square, basically that's a half an hour ride.
So your cardio is done there?
Cardio is done there pretty much. That's a half an hour journey. And in Bay Square, I get out, wheel for like another 20 meters. Then I enter the gym. In the gym, I work out for like 1.5 to 2 hours, and then I do the same thing back. My everyday gym session was 5.5 hours.
Yeah,
so you see, from the time my mom wheeling me to the gym, this is what I'm saying. It's A, it's B, it's C. It's literally step by step. People try to think, oh, why is my life not there? No, because there is a process to it. That's what it takes. But you got to be willing to do those things you've never done before. I have never done. My mom helped me. Then I started going to the gym myself. Then I started falling down, but I still continued. I started lifting weights. I got more confident. I started speaking out in public. Again, I was scared. I was scared. My heart came in my mouth. Like, I'm going to speak in front of 400 people. What if I mess up? What if I freeze? What if and I froze. I froze as well. But I didn't freeze because I forgot. We got so intense in talking on the pain that I was living in that moment. You know what I mean? Like that hurt came to me. And everyone in the audience is like,
yeah, just astounded.
they don't
spellbound.
even, it's not, yeah, they're also like, what's, and then I'm just like, just look at Chris. And then he comes and helps me catch back up. But it happens, you know, when you're really
into your story
and in an intense conversation. So from there, that happened. But one more thing happened that year, which brought me a new path. So from that year, from fitness, I got a new path to motivational speaking, because companies started calling me. TedX happened. TedX was the biggest thing, one of the biggest things in my life, I would say, which was a huge honor and a privilege to speak. Because then I got TedX in 2017, 18 and 19. So I spoke constantly for 3 years in TedX in different places. One was in Abu Dhabi, 2 were in Dubai. And at that year I was in a hospital and
for?
One of the surgeries. Like I said, you know, so many surgeries going on, right? It's like so casual right now, just in a surgery.
Just another surgery that I popped in for.
And I was in a hospital and this was happening on my birthday. Not the surgery, but in that entire period. And on 16th April, I was just messaging Chris. I'm like, hey dude, just bored out over here because there's nothing to work out and I miss working out and everything. On 17th April, my birthday, the guy walks into the hospital where I'm in my room with 2 big pairs of dumbbells. A guy walks in like his man bun and his tattoos all popping out, and he walks out with like 2 big dumbbells and he's like, this is for you, and it was a gift. And we just start talking on a couple of things and we take a small video for Virgin Radio, and I just show him a song I wrote. I used to like rapping. I like songwriting, rapping. And I showed him.
That bit.
Right?
I missed that bit.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yes, we have something she doesn't know. Okay.
You should also rap for us.
So I showed him the rap I did. It was a very basic rap. Like the first time I'm writing one. You know, I'm into it, but the first time I was writing one, it was super basic. And it was written on a notepad. And I just showed it to him. And I had a small recording I did and I posted on Instagram. Like what, 15, 30 followers or 100 followers I have at that time. And he's like, cool. And then on 18th morning, he calls me at 9 o'clock. He's like, are you up? No, the next day. On the birthday is what's just happened right now. On 18th April, he calls me and he's like, you up? I'm like, yeah, I just got up. He's like, okay, get ready. We're going live in like 10 minutes. I said, cool. And then we go live. Then he talks about the story and so they're still positive. He's still motivated. He's still killing it, going at it. And I'm like, yeah, we speak. And then he's like, but he has written a rap. I'm like, wait, what? Why you mentioning this on radio? Yeah, why are you talking about this on radio? And he goes like, and he adds the song I put on Instagram and he adds a beat to it. Because in my Insta, there's no beat, it's just plain rap. And he adds a beat and it sounds nice. An hour and a half later, my phone is getting bombarded with my sister's calls and messages. I'm like, what happened, Sonia? She's like, Selena Jetley just tweeted about you.
Oh,
I'm like, so the Miss World or ex-Miss World, right, at that time. And I'm like, wait, what? And then she sends me a screenshot. And I can see Selena tweeting saying, just heard Sujith's story on Chris Fade show today.
I think she's based in Dubai.
She is based in Dubai. Just heard, but now she's, I think, back in London or somewhere with her husband and kids. She like just heard Sujith's story on Chris Fade show, love the team, love Sujith's story, awesome rap, boom. And I then connected with Selena via Instagram. Like, then we started speaking and following each other. And then this is happening in April, okay? About close to September, October, I get an email suddenly in my from Masala Awards saying, hi Sujith, you are nominated for an award by Miss Selena Jetley for the function, which is the most inspirational personality. I'm like, what? And then that year, I take my sister, I take my mother, I take my...
Like it's just been a right?
So that year was just phenomenal. And then I go to Masala Awards and I'm seeing everyone. I'm seeing Boman Irani, Arjun Rampal, Govinda comes and kills it. I saw Sridevi, Boni Kapoor, and Selena was there, and all these celebs are there. And Boman Irani is hosting this show. And Masala Awards, most inspirational personality. And I'm like, he shouts my name. And this is a lot of steps, okay, to get on the platform. And Boman Irani comes and asks, like, do you want to come up or should we come down? I'm like, no, I want to come up. And they have like 4 big bouncers picking me up. So the guy did not expect the answer that I want to come up, okay? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to come up, right?
And then on the spotlight, on the stage.
And getting that award was like such a big boost, you know? So this then encouraged me to do further. And the same year,
A to B to C to D to...
Yeah, so and the same year, on December, I get an email from Dubai Tourism for the first time. And they were like, because I used to be vlogging about my journey, you know, traveling from Sharjah to this to business
So when
bay.
did you start working in between? I saw you working.
That's coming later.
Oh, okay.
So that's what in 17 December, then tourism messages me and they're like, we want you to, we are launching, there's something, Sheikh Hamdan's Dubai Fitness Challenge. So the first year was 2017 and we want you to be one of the official influencers and ambassadors for this event. So there's like 28 influencers. So I was then official influencer for, and I go into Dubai tourism. There are already people who know me from my work. And I'm like, wow. Like, you know, suddenly you feel you're getting recognized.
What an Instagram page has done for you.
What an Instagram page has done, the reach it has given me.
You can also now at this moment say that you have inspired a lot of people in wheelchairs.
I think so because I get so many DMs, you know, like I was saying, like there's so many hundreds of DMs I get. And there are so many of them asking me, telling me the most personal problems, like things I could not even imagine I would be hearing of someone's life. And they tell me that because they hope that I might have an answer for them.
And also they hope that you can relate.
They hope I can relate and they hope I have an answer for them. I literally have some emails, like after speaking to you, I'm going home, I have some very personal emails people have ran because my contact is on Instagram.
Okay.
And they've sent me such personal things.
Do you think that is, if you can give them the right guidance that way?
No, I make sure I'm not trained, but I know life.
From experience,
I know life, you know, I know what it feels
to
be ignored. I know what it feels to be in depression. I know what it feels to be great.
What would your biggest advice be to help someone build their self-esteem and confidence?
Stop seeking validation.
100%.
You know, people seek validation. 100%. I seeked validation initially, thinking why people not accepting, why people seeing like this. But then because we have that external source, we want that happiness from money or from things or from clothes or from people or from whoever. You know, and we will never get it in that way.
And we will never get it in the form that we want.
Even if you get it, it's a very short-lived term. And then that will go. And then you'll be like, where's my next validation? So I think people really have these self-esteem issues or confidence is because of validation. All I would say is stop giving a damn about anything. Stop giving a damn about how people think about you, how look at you.
But ultimately, like in many ways, isn't that how we've been wired, you know?
We have been wired like that. And I'm saying the reason why I say that stop giving a damn doesn't mean you go be a rebel. You know, stop giving a damn now. And then when you suddenly find your path and things that you're good at, you will align with the right people that will see the value in you.
That's what I always say. Like, you know, if someone has a statement that doesn't actually align with your thoughts, you don't necessarily have to force yourself to make a statement saying, no, this is what I'll do. That this no culture, this cancel culture that is so prevalent now is also very hurtful if you're living in a society, if you're living in a community. You don't have to cater to what they expect from you, but you make a statement silently. You know, why seek validation or why try to impress someone else? Just say no, like just move on. Just live with your life.
There's a two-way to what I'm going to say next. Like people want to have a confidence to be with people, right? I'll say have a confidence to be alone. That's your biggest power, and then you see the amount of people that will come into your life.
I may say this, but you know, when I go and sit in a coffee shop by myself, I feel so lonely. I'm like, oh my God, are they watching me because I'm alone? It is so difficult when you are in a social setup, and I think
it's the most dangerous thing a person can be if they are really comfortable being alone. No, that is one person you cannot break. You cannot do anything to that person. That person is very strong. That means, you know. And like I said, you know, there will be so many people in your life. See, I had a phase. For your question to answer, you know, I had a phase where I was with so many people where I was seeking validation of why am I not being called to that group. So those were toxic people, okay? So when I suddenly started getting famous and all those calls started coming back. Hey,
absolutely,
where are you partying?
That's how the society works.
That's how it works, you know. And all this is new for me, right? When I'm living it and experiencing it, I'm like, wait, what?
So you're learning it the hard way.
I'm learning it. I'm literally learning it, and the hard way. I remember these bunch of boys I used to be chilling with, and they used to take me under my building or somewhere to Mamzar, and we used to have chai and all. Me going to Mamzar was going to Burj Khalifa. I'm like, wow, like, you know, Mamzar, like, you know, this is what because I was just at home every day. You know, this is before I even did all the gymming and all of that. And then I get famous, and you know, I'm coming on radio channels and here and there, and they never took me anywhere else, saying that, oh, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be steps and all that. Then I have very close friends of me. They're like, if there are 10 steps, they're like, let's go do it. They'll come pick me up and you know, take me if they have to do that. Those are my like solid hardcore friends. You know,
you have to find your group.
You have to find that group, and for
if
me,
your inner circle is strong and core,
that is you're good. I mean, you don't need 100 people. You just need a good 3 people. You know,
absolutely,
and who will go all the way with you. And that 3 people will make you feel like you have an army. That's the best part of it. And when these guys were like, then my risk at that time, like I said, you know, my risk at that time was avoiding these toxic people. that would result in me being alone because I only know these 5 people or 10 people. But I took that chance. I focused on myself. I worked out. I got my name. I became a speaker. I won an award. People started recognizing. You see, suddenly where my path led out was to greatness. And Selena, just because of a little rap I did in a hospital bed, showing it to my friend.
As in, nothing of yours went unnoticed at that point. I'm like, even if it is a little thing that you didn't expect to blow up.
That's when I thought to myself, I would never put my rap out of the fear thinking, what would people think about my rap? Like, what rapper he is going to be? What rap is he making, man? Some rubbish or something like that. But accidentally, when it was put out by somebody else, that got noticed by someone else, and I just won Masala Awards, most inspirational personality. So that's when I thought, don't let fear, put it out. People might reject it, don't care, but do it 10 times, the 11th time will be the biggest hit of your life.
Yeah, that's consistency.
You know? Consistency matters a lot.
Yeah. And you're a prime example. So how was it when you started working? Are you still with Emirates NBD?
So basically, then to the 2018, I was like, I need to get a job. I need to get some real money coming in.
Solid.
And my sister put me she put me in Rack Bank first, but because these banks have a rule, siblings cannot work in the same bank. So then someone in the board gave my CV to Emirates NBD. And then Emirates NBD wanted me.
So are you still with them?
I'm still with them. That's my 9 to 5. Then I do personal training in the evening and events whenever it happens.
Wow. So I mean, like, you're sorted. You have everything that people said you wouldn't.
Right. I have. I mean, I think. I have 3 jobs now.
3 jobs. You're.
I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a certified personal trainer.
Yes,
and
probably the first trainer in UAE.
I'm the first person in a wheelchair in UAE who's a person. See, personal training has always been in my blood.
I think you have so much more to offer your clients than just
I think so. So I'm seeing new doors opening. Let's see, it's like
probably your clients cannot say no, coming from here. I mean, like, they don't have any reasons they wouldn't have any reasons to say, I cannot do this.
Yeah, no, that's why, because why are you not getting the best in life? That's my only question to people. Why not? Like, yes, it's hard. Things are hard. But if it's easy, everyone would have it.
And life is hard for everyone. Like, even if you have everything in life, like from an outside perspective, if you look at someone, they may seem so complete and full, but some way or the other, and the current crop I've seen, people are very discontent inside. I've seen a lot of that. You may think they have everything, but they're never quite happy. They're never quite content.
Nobody is, right, in a way.
Yeah,
like, none of us. I think we always seek.
So you don't really have a reason, because everybody's on the same platform, like the same.
Everyone is, but to the outside person, yes, someone has a big house. They're like, oh man, they have it, everything. But I know some people. Example, in the family itself, very beautiful house, very well sorted out. The whole world thinks that they have it all figured out. I know personally, they're like, but they worked very, very hard for many years to get to that position where that they are. People don't see that. People think they have it today or tomorrow.
Easy.
Tauhee, can you believe something? A couple of years ago, people have told that about me. Sujith has it very easy. Sujith I'm not kidding, I've heard this from someone, seriously, he gets it so easy. In Malayalam, they say, like, Ninik in the bag, you're like, what luck you are, man. You're just getting it like that. And I'm like, dude, you don't know how it takes to wheeling 400 meters left and right, traveling
8 kilometers for this.
And going through all of this. Yeah, and then people think I have it easy. Somebody actually said it, some couple of people. Like, he's so lucky, man. He's just so lucky he's getting on media. I'm like, dude, I have worked very hard for it. I've worked very hard. There are days I've cried in pain. I've been through surgeries. And for a doctor's malpractice in Dubai. And I had to take a rest for the next 6 months. My bank had to shorten my working hours because my wound had to heal. Pulling the Guinness World Record, I only have 2 days of training. Everyone asked me how many days of training you had. I had only 2 days of training in the month before Guinness World Record, because approvals was taking a very long time. There was so much of pressure on me I've never felt in my life, dealing with a lot of different entities. And so when this had to happen, I didn't have training. And the week before the event, I was on antibiotic because I had high fever. The doctor told me get admitted. I was like, there's no way I'm getting admitted in a hospital, because there was a wound I was dealing with. So,
and we must agree and acknowledge the fact that this happened because it was in Dubai.
Yes.
Dubai, and immense support from Dubai police.
From the police side. I cannot...
when you watch your video, it's that there's so... Like, we feel there's so much goosebumps, right? I mean, like all the police cars are around you, people are walking with you. It is such a heartening sight.
I did not expect it
Yeah,
at
it is
all.
such a heartening sight to see you struggling. I'm like, but still there was so much support, so much motivation on all sides to keep you going.
Seriously, like
It's such a beautiful video.
They told me that they're gonna support. Like they were very happy to support, more than happy to support. But on the day of the event, I'm expecting like 5-6 cars. That's about it. And I landed Burj Khalifa with my sister, and we were looking at like 20 cars, and 18 of them are Dubai police cars. And I told her, we are in the wrong place. Like, let's get out of here. I think we are in somebody else's event. And then 5 minutes later, I get a call. Are you here under the fountain? We are all here. And I'm like, whoa.
And that is the biggest biggest stage you can get, right? 8 kilometers of the stage.
The biggest stage, and in front of Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
And the best part was, like, every place so this was at the start, like, there were 8 convoy cars behind me with all police cars.
8 convoy cars just escorting one person.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in front,
I just love Dubai for all these reasons.
Seriously, and every place I went to, there were already cars blocking the road. So it's not the cars I saw in front. Like before I landed, like Financial Center completely blocked all 4 sides just for me to pass through. So I don't know any other place they would have done something like this.
Nowhere
else. But they supported us, and they assigned a police officer to run with me. So there was a guy called Seth, and he was running with me just in case I need water, just in case I'm going to fall down. Just for those little details, he was running with me through it. He was inspiring. We were like, there were points of the race. I was like broken completely. Like, after a while, your hands don't move, your body's not even connecting with your head. Like, it's so much of pain. It's a lot. And none of the roads are straight. It was very hard. This, like, our first 1 kilometer was boom.
Yeah.
I was in so much of speed.
How do you feel now after all the attention that's coming your way now?
I love it. It's so happy.
You're rebelling.
Like I always say, I worked very hard for this attention. I want to enjoy every bit of it.
You're going to absorb every bit of sport.
Everyone told me, did you feel the most happiest when you tapped if you've seen the video, I was tapping on Burj Khalifa, the front of it. That was the end of the race. But the crucial part, and it's so true, and I don't know how many people have told us this, and I think it's very important to understand all the legends who talk to us, all the highly successful people we look up to. It's never the end goal. It's always the journey that matters. Like even for me, if I have to reflect today, for me, the greatest moment is not tapping on the floor. Yeah. The greatest moment was for me wheeling after that first 1 kilometer.
The pain.
The first 1 kilometer is with you so much of energy. I've had coffee. Everyone, you're pumped up. I was listening to I bought my headphones, listening to pre-workout music, all my top 10 tracks, and then I move with so much of speed. And after that 1 kilometer, it's like doing a 100-meter sprint, right?
Yeah. Then
Use everything you have.
Yeah.
Then what happens to your body? You want to rest, right?
Yeah, we can actually see you panting through all the rest. Yeah,
then,
through a lot of it.
When that first muscles and all, I'm like, dude, this is going to be easy, right? I just have to wheel like this and keep going. But after that 1 kilometer, or I think probably 800, 900 meters, everything started hurting in my body. And I was like, then I had to stop for 5 minutes. I told him, let's take a break for 5 minutes. Yeah. Like at the, way in front, close to Financial Center, Zabil Palace. And that's when I just saw to myself, and everyone's just coming, what happened? Because I started in so much of speed. And I'm just panting, just having a water. And I told myself, there's more than 7 kilometers. I'm looking at my watch because I have a tracker on me. Yeah. More than 7.5 kilometers left. This is the real deal. There are 8 cop cars behind you. There's a drone on top of you. Downtown is shut for you.
You cannot let this pass.
This is a one-time chance. You cannot screw it up.
Yeah.
From that point
so
onwards,
much pressure that
is so much pressure.
There's no room for you to give up.
From that point onwards, it's purely this.
Mental. So that's the mental game.
That was the journey.
But I think having all those inclines and the rocky path, everything added to the glamour that this has brought.
Added to the glamour of this beauty, yes.
So now let's quickly move on to our quick takes. Let's see how fun we can make this.
Okay.
On my quick takes. So, okay. Let me begin with, on a scale of 10, how exciting is Sujith's love life? We haven't touched that bit as much.
3.
Oh my God, I think that is the lowest score I've got.
Yes, we beat everyone. No, I don't know. I've not dated someone in like forever. And everyone asks me, and I've got asked out so many times, but I just keep saying no.
You say
I don't
no?
know. I've said no so many times. Like people have literally asked me, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It's so bad. I think
our followers would be curious to know.
I don't have a very strong answer for this.
Okay.
It's just a personal thing. I'm just so diverted in a different side of life that I don't know. I wouldn't say I've not found someone who's very nice. I've met amazing people.
Yeah.
But
of course,
I'm
being in the field that you are, you must have met so many people. And I'm surprised I haven't heard more of this before.
I've heard so many people. Yeah, this love life. It's lately in these past interviews only people asking me about it.
Yeah.
But
everyone
no,
is curious, Sujith. Everyone is curious. The world wants to know.
I've been asked out, but I've said no many times. Last time I've dated someone who was in 2017. But that was again a long distance thing for like a month or so. But yeah, it's been a very long time I've dated somebody. Yeah.
So what is the first thing you notice in someone?
In a female or a person
female.
mean? Eyes.
Eyes.
Oh yeah, eyes never lie, and I really think about it. I mean,
clearly, why long distance didn't work.
Oh, so basically, wow, we're coming back to that. No, I dated somebody in Bangalore, and then after that accident, towards my accident time, I wasn't dating anyone. But then after that, I dated an ex schoolmate of mine.
Okay.
So she was
where
like,
you go to school here?
I was in Indian high school.
Okay.
And then in India, I was in Good Shepherd, a school called Good Shepherd, and Labour India in Kottayam, Pala. So yeah.
Oh, so you moved many schools.
I moved 3 schools.
Okay. Yeah, the rebel that he was.
Rebel that I was. So.
Okay. So now that you've clearly said you say no to a lot of these advances, how
But I'm not saying that's going to be the answer.
Like, how do you dump someone politely?
Huh?
How do you dump someone politely?
Dump?
Yeah.
I know how to dump them, right?
Yeah, you don't even let it take off.
Oh yeah, I don't let it take off. Exactly, that's my point. It's not like I'm dating them and saying they no. But I just say to them, you're talking about these proposals, I just tell them, listen, it's not the best phase of mine that I am in right now.
Really?
And I'm focusing on something else.
You're focused
so I cannot give my 100% and the loyalty and everything right now for this.
So let's just put it out there. What is it that Sujith is looking for?
Wow, we're back.
I'm
This is so
today.
tough on me right now.
Today.
No, I genuinely, so I'll tell you honestly, being truthful to you right now, and people are literally going to hear this from my mouth because my close friends know how many I turn down and I don't give a lot of attention to that.
And hopefully this is something he hasn't shared on any other podcast.
I do get attention, but lately I'm thinking of the fact of actually, why not try dating? I would say honestly, maybe it's a fear as well because I've been single for so long and getting that freedom taken away. Now this is me being super candid. Okay. This is not
freedom taken away.
Freedom taken away. You know, when you're single for a very long time, you're quite free. When you're committed to someone, there's a lot of commitment to it. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to put to it.
Okay, there is.
Now, I'm not going to specifics, but you have to put a lot of commitment. But lately, I've been thinking of, and I really don't know how it feels to date someone again. Because I've not dated someone from 17 onwards.
5 years.
2000, it's a long time. So I'm being very honest to you, and I really wish I would actually give it a try. This thing.
What would you be looking for? I'll make a snippet of this.
I would say what. God, I need a break to even think and tell you a good answer. That sounds. Oh wow, he's a smart man. Looks for the right woman. No. So much of pressure, Tauhee. Okay, I would look. I would want to say that I'm looking for someone that's very confident, but again, not as confident, not as well that much because I think 2 positives won't attract, 2 negatives won't attract. Someone that's a little crazy. I love a person who's a little crazy, who's as trippy as how I am, but I don't know, classy on the outside, mad on the inside.
I like that.
That's my thing.
I like that. Classy on the outside, mad on the inside.
Mad on the inside, yeah.
So I hope that's something you haven't shared anywhere else.
I've never spoken about this. I don't know. You're going to put this as a snippet.
Yeah, this is going to be my selling point.
People are going to think this is Sujith's Love Life podcast. You got to know what's this thing.
Okay,
my sister also came and asked me, you're dating literally the other day, she was at home to take some chocolate. She's like, who are you dating, man? Are you ever going to... I'm like, dude, I'm not dating. If I'm dating... But I always say this...
you need more color to your profile as well.
But I always say this, if I'm dating someone, the whole world will know it.
Inshallah.
I'm not the person who I have to hide her.
I'm also following another Instagram I recently recorded with, and I love how open she is, how positive she is about her love life on her page. And she's not married, she's just started dating. Right. And it's so nice to see.
Yeah, I think I would be someone like that. Yeah. I would be very open about, not hide it.
Yeah.
The minute I'm dating, make sure the whole world knows.
Yeah, and I'll keep reposting this. So what is a misconception about handicapped people that you want to address?
They are not able. So I've had somebody who was denied a job in Bangalore, Mangalore and Kerala. 33 companies that denied him, saying the reason that washrooms are not accessible. You might get sick because he's in a wheelchair. All of this reasons. And the man, he reached out to me in 2017. He's employed in Emirates NBD since I think 19 or something, and he's living from the past 4-5 years happily with his wife in Dubai. So, I think I'm a prime example that don't judge a person by the book by its cover. Like, the amount of capabilities we all have, not just me. Like, there are so many people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think people by default think a person in a wheelchair or a person of determination is just weak, cannot do anything.
Yeah.
I think that was the fire that drove me to do a lot of things, So yeah, that is one of the biggest misconceptions.
Yeah. What is your biggest fear?
Losing. I cannot be second. I have to be first. So I would do whatever
that's a very important driving factor.
Yeah, that is my big driving factor.
Would you rather undo or copy paste in real life?
Undo and copy paste?
Undo or copy paste?
See, I know we all talk about we should not have regrets. It's not about regrets, but yeah, if it could make things better, I don't know if I should undo and copy paste the time I got half out of 50 for my math exam or
Half as in half?
I got half. I'm not even joking. And my dad told me even a blind person would get 1.
Oh my God! And that was in what grade?
I was in 7th. I was in 7th or 8th. Yeah, I got half. I got half
a bachelor's in commerce. You've come 50. A very long way.
I've come a very long way. I've come a very long way. So I've got half out of 50. I remember that for my math exam. Yeah.
Okay, what would be an advice you'd give to your 20-year-old self? Looking back today, when you
20-year-old self.
When you just
should have taken more chances. Yeah, definitely with the person I am. A lot of fear that time, but you should have definitely taken more chances.
What is the worst advice you've ever gotten?
You can't.
Which drove you to all the cans. One thing you do differently given a choice.
One thing I would do differently?
Yeah.
Wow. I think, I don't know, you mean the past me?
No, I mean like you.
The way I would treat people back in my day. I think I would do that differently today. I would treat people with so much more value, I think. I do people to treat with value, but I was very impulsive that time. I was very much on adrenaline. I was here, I was there, I was there.
But that was because of your age also.
Yeah, the age also. And there was so many nice people at my life at that point of time, which I felt I should have given more value to.
Okay.
So I think that's something I would do differently.
Okay. What is success for you?
Being able to provide for my family and giving a life to them they can't imagine. Honestly, that is my success term. So I work very hard for not for recognition, very hard to get to a position where I can literally provide for people around me. That is honestly true stuff. That you can take that as finance, you can take that as recognition, you can take that as support or getting things done, whichever way, but it's to be in a position where I can provide for people, my family especially and people around me, whatever they need.
Wow. So, I was just going back to another guest of mine, Dr. Saliha Fridi. She is a psychologist.
Okay.
And just the other day, I was listening to a very small bit of her audio where she was saying that you may have a lot of passion in life, but you're doing something else that's not related to it. But at the end of the day, if that is providing for your family, if that is sustaining them, there is a lot of honor in it.
Right.
And that is above everything else, right? So now, and this is the last one, what would you say was your most empowering moment on your wheelchair?
So there are, I know I want to give you one, but honest truth is there are a little more than one. Number one would be definitely the Guinness World Record.
Give me the top 3 then.
The top 3. Cool. I like that. So top, I'm going to top it with this boy itself because there's no feeling. I am still on the trip of, it's like everything just changed, after Guinness World Record. Like, people know but this man, I know for a fact this is not there in everyone's house. So I wake up in the morning, I see it, I'm like, damn, you worked very hard for it.
And you keep it right where you can see it.
Keep it there. I have a small showcase of all trophies on one side, and this is on the other side.
It's not blending in with anything else.
There's no match to this. Second would be the first time I ever spoke. And very empowering moment, I'll tell you. I remember I was in Gulf Indian school, and I gave this speech. And then I asked the teachers, if you don't mind, can I have the students come forward so we can all take a big selfie? They were all excited. They all came running. I remember this one girl came, 2 girls came on stage, and one girl came, I want to be a tennis player. I really want to be a professional tennis player, but my mom and dad wants me to be a doctor. But today, after listening to you, sir, I know how to balance both my lives and how to get my goals. Because, you know, that kid, they're rebellious, right? They want to do one thing.
Was it a small kid?
She was 11th standard girl. But then, when we were down and we were trying to take selfies, and the small girl comes, she was 8th standard girl, and she comes and tells me, sir, today I woke up in the morning and I thought it's another school day, and they told me there's a speaker coming. And I did not know what to do today. I just came to school. But after listening to you, this is all how she said in the most simplest ways, after listening to you, I feel I know what to do now.
Oh.
An 8th standard girl.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, 8th I was stupidly walking around.
Exactly. I was just imagining my daughter and going and saying, okay, now I have clarity.
And 8th standard girl comes and tells me, now after listening to you, I know what to do. And I'm like, wow, man, the impact you make on people, or, you know, the changes that so that was a very empowering moment, I would say, other than the Guinness.
She's always going to remember you.
She's always going to remember me. And even lately, I went to GEM school, and these kids, they started emailing me, asking questions and understanding your mindset. Because like I said, you know, earlier, I'm very confident, but I'm very aggressive towards life as well. That's why I speak about, like, you know, if something is going to kill me, I'll do it right then. But that's the real me, you know, that's how I function, that's how I think.
You believe you've got back the fire that you lost in between for a very long time?
I think I got
more.
I think the fire to the fire today is not even comparison. No.
Wow.
There's no comparison, because today I would go, like I told you, you know, working out, there's so much things that have happened, I've never stopped. Doing things like this, no matter sicknesses, doctor told me get admitted. Like I've never cared on the health side of things. I'm like, the goal is to do this, the body will follow, you can do it. So I
think it's all about how you set your mind to it.
It's all about how you set your mind.
And the body will just listen to it.
Body has to listen to it. And it's about how aggressive you want to go towards it. Like you want something great in life, you got to do something. So this, probably somebody else would have given like, I should rather take my body rest than do this. For me, that was not the thing. For me, I need to be in a position, because, you know, I've been through in a state where everyone has given me so much of, I don't know, dirt and pittiness and sympathy that I just want to just shun it all. Today, people not even come miles close to me with that. That's a fact. So because I'm in a wheelchair, there's nothing different about me than somebody else in a wheelchair. So don't judge that person, you know. Don't think that person is weak as well. You never know when that person is going to be the next great thing. And who can deny you greatness? God is. I always say this to me, and it's a little religious thing, but
self-talk.
When God is with me, nothing can be against me. That's what I keep saying myself, and that's the confidence I go with. I stay myself. I do everything. I stay by myself. I do everything by myself. I pay my own bills with whatever I get. What can stop you?
What can stop you?
What can stop you?
From where to where, and that's an amazing story, Sujith. I'm so glad we got to know so much about you, what fueled your journey towards this, and it is an absolute pleasure to have had you.
Absolute pleasure is mine as well.
Thank you so much, Sujith.
Thank you.
You know, from your busy schedule, from all your press releases and interviews, thank you so much for giving us your time.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.